domestic silverware last season, the MTN8 debutants, and today's undoubted underdogs. It is Durban City who come to town. And with that, welcome to the Orlando Amstel Arena. It's packed once again following last weekend's league opener. It was a comfortable 2-0 win over newbies Milford FC. Durban City, meanwhile, beaten away in their Betway Premiership opener 1-0 by Skakuni United. They'll be looking to bounce back as they return to Orlando 3 months after frustrating Pirates right here on what was the penultimate day of last season. Certainly a game of contrasts where Orlando Pirates had in excess of 50 shots and hit the target 8 times. The man you just saw come off your screen, Frederick Asare, had been newly introduced just a few games prior and produced an absolute masterclass as Pirates had to put the champagne on ice that day. And as they stride out here this afternoon, their 4 successive MTN8 titles mean that they own outright a truly unique South African record, the only side to have lifted the MTN8 or indeed any domestic cup title in South Africa 4 times in a row, and they will be determined to improve on their own achievement and make it 5 MTN8 titles on the spin, starting with this potentially tricky quarterfinal against Durban City, who'll be looking to upset the odds. Let's look.
A lot of familiar faces, a lot of understanding within itself as well, so there's a lot of expectation, especially in this game.
And their visitors report 3 changes. Gaston Sereno now fit enough to start. He comes in for Samkelo Maseko. Panafuti Mkhize sustained a training ground injury this week, so Sia Msomi makes his debut at centre-back, whilst the former Buccaneer Bandile Shandu is installed at right-back. Fizeli Taba drops to the bench. He's cover for both centre-back and right-back.
I think with Durban City, we've seen yesterday how Sereno was introduced in the second half, coming in at the number 10, him and Sifumba, you're expecting to see the same thing, but once they don't have the ball, they will be having 5 in that midfield to try and consolidate that Orlando Pirates midfield.
Our man in charge of today's proceedings will be Alfred Chabani, assisted by Romano Piri and Sergio Olin on the flank. Cedric Mubali is the 4th official. Today's skippers both wear 5. Kosinati Sibisi, defender of the season 2 seasons back, partnered by the current defender of the season today, whilst it is Spamantla Hanana, who skippers this visiting Durban City side, hoping to do what he did against all odds last season when he helped this Durban City team to National Cup honours. Otherwise, every other trophy available in South African football last season went to this side, the Buccaneers, who salute their faithful this afternoon. They have a legacy to uphold now in this MTN8 competition, achieving what no other side has achieved and edging now ever closer to the all-time records in the top 8 since the 70s. Kaizer Chiefs with the 15 titles, Orlando Pirates with 14. That's perhaps most importantly in recent times is the fact that they are winners of 5 of the last 6 MTN8 competitions. Frederick Asare will be hoping for the kind of performance he produced here at the Orlando Amstel Arena almost exactly 3 months ago on the penultimate day of the Betway Premiership season, the day where Sipho Chain didn't have to make a save. Asare had to make 8. He looks up for it, as do his teammates and the opponents. It is Wafa Wafa time, so there are no second chances. It is do or die. It's the shortest but most competitive route to silverware in South Africa, and it has kicked off right now at the spiritual home of South African football. The odds stacked against Durban City. when you just look at it overall, holistically, but they have every chance, and I think they need to draw some encouragement, Deco, from 3 months ago. Orlando Pirates expected to lift the trophy here at the Orlando Amstel Arena, with Mamelodi Sundowns having already played their 30 matches. They knew what they needed to do. A win against Durban City on the 16th of May would have got them the title. They eventually went on to win it against Durban on the final day. But my word, what a defensive performance this side put on. They offered very little attacking threats, but they were so solid at the back.
They were solid indeed, and if also maybe trying to measure the pressure between those two games, there's still same pressure. Maybe Orlando Pirates also need to be able to maintain that type of pressure, to start very well, to also control the tempo of the game. It's gonna be a lot of requirements from City to be able to emulate that type of performance again. But yet again, it is a cup competition. One needs to be knocked out, so they need to find ways. Then what is it that they do when they do have the ball, create enough chances? That's why maybe you see the likes of Sereno back into the lineup, maybe to have that creative spark. But from a defensive point of view, you can expect the same from Durban City, understanding that you're playing away, you're playing here at Orlando Stadium. You know that the attacking powers of Orlando Pirates, how strong they are.
Oh, lovely work from Sifumba. Eventually dispossessed here by Oswin Apollos, who scored on debut for Orlando Pirates in the quarterfinals of the MTN8 last season. That was against his former side that he had just signed from in Bulelani City. He's already off the mark for this current campaign, as is Tsapang Moremi, two standout players in the previous tournaments. Let's look at this fully straight out.
Yeah.
Might have just stayed in, actually.
Yeah, I think it was judged for a pulling from no doubt away.
Sure. There's a man that will be occupying the attentions of the defenders, Jean Lubamba, the Congolese, scored 5 goals in his debut season for Durban City in the previous campaign. This is Tylo Sanger getting a chance now in the top flight, formerly with the Cape Town Spurs. Just 22 years of age, hails from Mitchell's Plain, but looks to be a good acquisition. He's already got minutes under his belt in the previous league match. Sibilibili has given it away. Pochompol turning it on. It's bypassed Sereno, but they could still make something of it. And now with Masunyani, as Orlando Pirates look to escape here at the pace of Tsapang Moremi. Moremi delivered in the cross, but far too close to Asali.
Yeah, you can see with Orlando Pirates, they're the back. You know, they will try and play from the back, but it's going to take some time to get used to those playing patterns, especially maybe trying to bypass that pressing line. But those are type of mistakes that they need to maybe try and avoid. But City need to make sure that they're ready to pounce, able to make something of it. But it was an opportunity nonetheless from Moremi breaking out on the left. We're going to see more of those from Orlando Pirates using that speed, especially on the left-hand side where Moremi operates.
Khalil Ben Youssef, his games as a co-coach for Kaizer Chiefs against Orlando Pirates last season obviously came at the FNB Stadium, but this is not actually his first taste of standing on the touchline at the Orlando Amstel Arena. That's something he first did just over 3 years ago as assistant coach for Liberia, if you'll recall, when they shocked us in AFCON qualifiers, coming from a couple goals down, a 2-2 draw here. He was assistant coach on what was a great day for a Liberia side ranked around 150th in the world at the time that they managed to hold Bafana Bafana. In terms of club football, though, it's the first time that he stands on the touchline at this iconic arena. It's looked a little sloppy inside the opening first 5 minutes here. Durban City been very quick to apply pressure, and there's been several stray passes already. Yeah,
I can see that they're forcing Orlando Pirates to make those unnecessary, unforced errors, rather. But it's to apply pressure so high early on into the game. Always the question will be, are you able to maintain that throughout the game? And I think they need to just pace themselves. That is City.
Sifumba scraped in, and stooping clearance from Ndaba, didn't go particularly far, and then thrashed towards goal from a fair distance out. What a goal that would have been from Sanger had he been able to hit the target. Sipochain just seemed to be not well positioned to deal with that incoming shot.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting that shot from Jenga, especially from that distance with his weaker foot. But you can see just the sloppiness from Orlando Pirates early on into the game. They need to get into the game, control the game a little bit better, slow things down a little bit. And the important players that needs to come into the game to be able to control that is Mbata and Denson in that midfield and be able to engage Masongani.
Masongani was set on his way, but didn't quite have the pace to reel that in. Nada dealing with it. Nada, who is perhaps slightly culpable for the goal scored by Brighton Global of Skokuni United during the first half of their Betway Premiership match last weekend. A little slow to react, the skipper, as Lubamba is up to his feet. And they recruited to the beginning of last season, had been playing his football in Botswana. Daba. Sabisi. Hasn't always had the fondest memories of this competition. Sabisi to sit out a final, was injured in one.
I think he was injured back-to-back finals and happening in Durban. It was so sad to see that because he was just newly in the Orlando Pirates team, and to go back home and being unable to be in the first 11 and still getting injured and walking off. I remember him crying, but yet again, he sorted himself out, sorted his injury out, and strong mentally as well to be able to come back and bounce again. So he won treble last season as a captain of the club, and he possibly will be looking to continue with that this season.
Incidentally, this is the first time that Pirates face a KZN side in the MTN8 since that final against AmaZulu at the Mozambique Stadium back in 2023. As Sifumba lifts the ball here to Pochumpool, Gaston Serino as the attentions of Moremi. Pochumpool avails himself. Here's Msomi. He's been in Poland, playing in the lower divisions of Poland for the last couple of seasons. Started his footballing journey in KZN with Golden Arrows Diski Challenge side as Odada and Lubamba look to combine there. Two centre-backs today, one for each side, who were developed at Clermont for Golden Arrows. Sibilibili was a nominee for Player of the Tournament, clipped by Tsubang Moremi, of course, who actually starts an MTN8 game for Orlando Pirates for the first time. He was a substitute in all 4 of their matches in the previous campaign. What a wonderful contribution he made off the bench in the final. 2 goals and assists. Here's Mbata. Masongani. Milling runners up ahead of him. Daba in pursuit, but there first is Bandile Shandu, man who joined Orlando Pirates from Maritzburg in 2021. This is a decent run, but driving towards the byline, Moremi only able to lift it in perhaps a little aimlessly.
You can see that with the Orlando Pirates, I think on the left-hand side, that's where they might find joy. Where Moremi, very, very tricky to be able to defend, because at times he comes inside using with both feet. And you can see they're just trying to push down the line to be able to bring that cross, but unfortunately there was no one to meet it in the box.
Polis can't work the angle for the cross. It's found in Naba. Back here to Sipoche. Sheet record in the Betway Premiership in the previous campaign for Sipoche. He just offers his apology for a slightly loose delivery. Known, of course, as being an excellent shot stopper who's very good with the ball at his feet as well, which you have to be in this modern age of football.
especially from a team that wants to play from the back. You need to be that extra player to be able to bypass. But also, I think one thing also that maybe he needs to add on to his game is those distribution early on, especially when you have the quick players like Sibilibili and Moremi in there.
Sibilibili tried to work some space here, but it's presented Durban City with an opportunity. Lumumba not quite aware of what was around him. It's not the most assured touch on the edge of the area as Ellen Patuma seeks to make a nuisance of himself, operating alone up front with Moremi and Apollos either side of him. Once again by Nodada, but they're not able to make anything of it this time around. John Makoni providing the option on the overlap. Another new recruit. Did go down in the previous campaign, but he's found himself a new home at Durban City. There's Apollos. Excellent Siema. Sibisi. Danson. A little cameo appearance in the MTN8 quarterfinal against Polokwane City last season, and didn't appear in any of the subsequent matches to semi-finals against Sundowns and the showpiece against Stellenbosch. Almost get the sense now that Pirates looking to get a feel of the ball before eventually they do look for an option further upfield.
But also we can see the slowing things down, but yet again they want to play the ball over the top, and you can see Durban City that are literally waiting for those type of balls to be able to backpedal, to be able to hit those balls. This is a foul that has been caused by Sibilibili, because once Danson is on the ball, you find Sibilibili in the high position, you find Ndaba as well on the left hand side as well, being in high position. But yet again, you need to find those penetrative passes that is Danson. You need to find your Maswangani in throughout. You need to find Moremi in between those lines, Apollos as well between those lines, because then you're not predictable. Then you're forcing City now to defend a little bit different.
So Sibilibili, first player to go into the book in the MTN8 this season. His name taken by Alfred Jamani. So swings it across the park. Back in the possession of the Buccaneers, and clearly clipped there was Moremi. It's Tyler Sanger getting stuck in. It's quite a presence in the center of the park. Officially stands at 6 feet 2 inches. So we need to convert that to centimeters, about 188. Sibisi. Super chain. Siema. How do you come off the season of your life and look to replicate, if not improve on that, if you are Siema?
It's always difficult, especially the second season after winning such a big trophy. It's always going to be very, very difficult, because now your opponents now have started to. Also, there's a lot of players as well that you're inspired now to be, in that position that you're in. But also, all you need to do is just try a little bit more consistent.
That's cleverly worked by Maswangani. Is momentary panic in the box, but Frederick Asade, Ghanaian, has done particularly well to snaffle that one up. And it's a quick release as well. Can't get Lumumba in behind. Sanger takes over in the center of the park, shakes off Danson, but he had done enough to eventually see him dispossessed, with the Talente Bata now trying to make something happen. This is the third time that these two sides come face to face. The first did so November of 2025, Durban City hosting Pirates at Moses Mabhida Stadium. As Patrick Maswanganyi did score the second of 2 goals in that game. It was Makopa getting the first, a 2-0 win. Spamandla Nagane incidentally sent off late in that game for a pull on Inela Mputuma. He's been forced to watch once again tonight, this afternoon rather. And it wasn't a game in which Orlando Pirates absolutely dominated. They had about 57% possession. Both sides had 9 shots in total, but Pirates hit the target a lot more often. Sibilibili keeps it in play. Now Paulus finding Muremi. That touch not quite tight enough. Zanga with a firm pass for Lubumba that he can't control. The reason, Diego, that I delve so much into the stats from their first meeting is because their second meeting, where Durban City actually managed to earn a point, was a far different equation. As Maswanganyi on that far side, so right in front of the fans. That's as close a view as you can get to the pitch on that side. Yeah. So he knows where that the right area has the most currency.
Yeah. But I guess also, if you look at also the second time these two teams met, Durban City just qualified to play in the final of the calendar. So they're coming in here also trying to emphasize on the strategy and also looking as to then how then they can just they're not allowing Orlando Pirates to use them as to being the team that they actually lifted the trophy here at home. But it was a different approach with different coach. Yes, there's still players, 40 to maybe to 60% of the players that really participated in that game. But with Ben Yusuf, maybe the approach is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they'll try and also maybe, find ways as to then how then they beat Orlando Pirates to get through. But Orlando Pirates, there's a lot of pressure on them. They are the defending champions, and there's a lot of expectation from the fans, from the players themselves.
So too much of the ball there, but play pulled back for the earlier foul. Looks like Pochumpul is the man to have had his name taken. Two seasons back, Brooklyn Pochumpul was in the Supersport United side that met Pirates in the quarterfinals, a game that actually had to be settled in extra time. They eventually won 3-1. That was back in 2024. So if we can contrast that first meeting with their second, which came just about 3 months ago, 76% of the possession belonged to Orlando Pirates. They had 31 shots. They hit the target 8 times in total. Managed 45 touches in Durban City's box as compared to the 2 touches that City had over the course of that match, and they had almost 500 passes to City, just over 100 passes. It was complete and utter domination, but City did what they needed to do. They got the point, which ultimately saw them end in the top 8. So it was very valuable, and they are still searching for a first win since that Nedbank Cup final. Going back to last season, now 5 games winless since that victory over TS Galaxy. There's Danson. Durban is outside. Maswanganyi up ahead of him. Taking no chances. Spamandla Nana. Sibilibili keeps it alive. Call going against him. Here's Maswanganyi. Sibisi for Siema. Bata, his foot to it first. Danson living a little dangerously. Gets the return from Ndaba. Danson driving infield. Can't work the space to shoot, and ball taken away from him by Gaston Serino, who then himself has dispossessed it from long range. It's Talent Mbata forcing an excellent save out of Asare. Didn't bag as many goals as he would have liked to in the previous campaign, but hitting them from range like that is his bread and butter these days.
It is indeed. You can see he set himself up very nicely there. He realized that there's enough space in him, and of course he did very well as well to keep it on target. But yeah, it was a great save there from Asare.
Gone short from the corner. Moreni sees it back from Masongani. Sifumba was able to get a touch on that, keep it alive, but in the end, Modada, in his attempts to fly forward and create something, loses out. There's a butter for Pirates. Masongani down inside the box. Nothing more than a goal kick.
I can see also the referee's positioning as well. Very proper to be able to see that very clearly. You can see here Masongani, after realizing that he lost the ball, he went down, but good positioning there from the referee to realize that there was no infringement there.
Sorry. Gorny can't deal with a slightly loose ball.
And it's 21 minutes in. Both teams haven't settled on the ball. Both teams haven't settled, haven't really got the rhythm, and expecting a lot from Orlando Pirates playing at home, knowing how teams struggle actually to come here and play the normal football that they play. So they need to really start getting more into the ball, creating opportunities, and maybe possibly play a little bit faster. Just slowing the game down doesn't necessarily mean that the ball needs to be a little bit slower.
We are now about midway through this opening period. Abdeslam Waru trying to make some changes on the fly here. Starting to come together for Pirates, but we would have identified areas that are just not quite clicking up to this point. It is extremely rare, and it's only happened twice in the PSL era that in the top 8 competition the defending league champions have actually failed to progress. And Pirates in 2003-2004 did lose to Cosmos, who finished 8th the previous season. The other team to Cosmos actually went on to win that, and the only other team to have gone on to win as the 8th place side from the previous season was Bloemfontein Celtic 2 campaigns on. That was in 2005-2006. Substitutes warming up. The watchful eye of Helmut Bildich, one of the most highly rated fitness trainers on the continent. There's some really good youngsters on the bench as well, a couple of whom made great cameos against Milford FC. There's Moremi, slightly behind Masongani, but rescued by Butuma, now with Durban City as they look to clear their lines. Polis. Danson getting away from Sanga. Ball comes flying in. He needs to be very, very careful. He's already been cautioned. That was only 6-7 minutes ago for his foul on Ndaba.
And he's one of the players that in that midfield they wouldn't afford to lose. You can see how dangerous that tackle is from Brockenpool. Very late dancing and also being clever. That is Bochum. The ball is going sideways. There's no danger coming in. You need to stay on your ground, stay on your feet, because you do have three-man midfielders, no data, and then there's saying that they do have that defensive line very well, so there's no need for him to commit that way. So I'm sure that the foul that he's going to commit again is going to, put the referee, on the spot to be able to maybe issue that second yellow card.
Yeah, the only reason he's getting away with that one is because he's already been cautioned. That's a yellow any day of the week, if perhaps he hadn't already gone into the book. Now, Ossonapolis, Tuchampol gets his head to it, proving again how important he is to this team and how much of a blow it would be if he were to be sent off. He is walking a very thin line at the moment. Gaston Sereno with the foul this time on Tito Masrangani. Got the second half of the game against Kukuni United under his belt, debuting for this side after departing Kaizer Chiefs. One of three players that Khalil Ben Yusuf asked for specifically, along with Tashreeq Morris as well as Bandile Shandu. Those were the requests he made after joining his coach. And also there was a huge change that he made, that is Sereno, in that game that he played. Now Polis measures it, but it's quickly closed down. Lubumba is a willing runner. Sibilibili getting there first, pushing back to Chain. City last season, good value for their 8th place finish. They won 10 matches, first newly promoted side, in fact, since Le Montfort Golden Arrows back in 2015-16 to get double-figure victories in the Betway Premiership. But then finding Apollos, the angle against him, and he works it in here for Batuma, who can't finish off what looked to be a fairly decent move. It was a decent move indeed. That strong touch from Batuma really let him down inside the box. They need to be very aware of those type of movements. He needs to be very sure of his touches as well. Now Apollos brings it out of the air after it had been dinked forward by Masrangani. They'll settle for the corner here. Third corner for Orlando Pirates. They took the last one short. This doesn't appear to be any such option this time around, as Moremi does swing it in direct. Sereno, his pass getting away from Sifumba. Masrangani well positioned to deliver it in towards the back post, where somehow it has been turned past the goal by Yanela Batuma. It was a great ball that had been played by Tito. Great power behind it, giving opportunities to the attackers to be able to run towards the ball. You can see he was onside, that is in Batuma. He was just let down again by the touch. You can see he extended his leg trying to put the ball inside the box. But there you need to allow the ball to be inside foot to be able to redirect it. But because it was so high, there was a lot of work that he still needed to do. But those are runs that he needs to be, making often. It's a stunning delivery by Patrick Masrangani. And the Pirates continue to knock. There have only been 6 instances in the PSL era where the defending champions have been knocked out of the quarterfinal stage of this competition. Pirates themselves, when losing to Cosmos back in 2004. Several other instances as Lubumba now takes it on. Was under some serious pressure, so probably felt compelled to hit it early. Got some serious force behind that, but off target. Yeah, I can see the ball just bounced nicely there for him. He needed to get on his back, and you can see also good cover there from Siema, so possibly that's the moment that he decided to really take that shot with his wicker foot. Yeah, I think it is Siema closing him down in his peripheral vision. Yeah. Kind of forced him to take that shot on early. Masunga receiving from Mbata. Daba. Moremi. Tracked by Shandu. Another corner.
Orlando Pirates needs to make use of these corners. The first two corners that they had, they tried to play short. It ended up being the back ball, back pass went to Puchai at the back. So they need to make use of the set pieces with the CMs, the CBCs inside the box, the Mutumas inside the box, just to try and make sure that they cause enough problems inside the box. Especially look at the height as well of Asari as well. Just, you know, cause some sort of problems inside the box.
Yeah, Sade, not the tallest goalkeeper, as we turn our attentions now to a problem here for Kosinat Sibisi. On the topic of corners, just to briefly divert back to them, it was in the game against Durban City towards the end of last season where they had corner upon corner and couldn't do anything with them.
But then when you go to off-season, when you go to those pre-season friendlies, those are the type of things that you try to, you know, improve a little bit. Because sometimes you might find games like this, because Orlando Pirates, it is a team to beat this season. You might find yourself in such situation as then how then you still be able to punish teams that are sitting on a low block, you know, denying you space, especially in those corridors where Apulis will want to operate, Masonga you want to operate. You need to use the set pieces very well.
So Sibisi being stretched off. Looks to be a premature end to his afternoon. Gone past the half-hour mark. Goals yet to report. Orlando Pirates with the corner to come. Operating a man light at the moment. Apollos lifting it in. Oh, decent effort. Nothing wrong with that from Moremi. As we said, already has opened his account and during the pre-season tour in Spain scored an absolute blinder. Oh, you can see the new Norwegian arrival. Sebastian Pedersen is in the building along with the other non-playing personnel. There's Somi. Still without Kosinat Sibisi at the moment, Orlando Pirates, although he is waiting to be summoned back onto the pitch. And now they are restored to their full complement of 11 are the hosts. Both sides this week learned of their upcoming CAF obligations. Durban City as Nedbank Cup winners entered into the Confederation Cup. 56 teams in the tournament, 48 in the first round. There's 8 that are given a first round bye, including Gaston Sereno's former club, as well as Khalil bin Yusuf's former side Kaizer Chiefs. Just due to CAF rankings, they are among sides like Al Ahly of Egypt, Al Azam of Tanzania, USM, and Bolisda of Algeria, and Asfa, Raja Casablanca, all getting a bye. In the first round of qualifying, as Asuna Apollos sees his cross headed away by Msomi. As Apollos to Danson. Ball off for a throw-in. By the way, City hosting Rukinzo FC out of Burundi. First weekend of September. And they go away. The following weekend is in Butuma. Tries to shake off the attentions here of Somi. Finds Danson. Sibilibili. Dispossessed just inside the area. And it will be a goal kick. Well, it spent a lot of time in and around the 18-yard area of Durban City in the last minute or so without doing particularly much.
It's going to be very difficult this, as we've alluded earlier on, as to then how City have really positioned themselves and realizing and understanding as to then where Pirates are dangerous, making sure there's always a player there.
Oh, miscommunication, yeah, Puffapul, he has given away a penalty, and I think he's going to walk here. Miscommunication with Asare, who hesitated for a moment, and Puchumpu forced to make the challenge. And I think the replay will be extremely illuminating. Almost seems as though he's fully expecting Asare to go for that and clear. Both hesitate. Puchumpu, who's now decelerated, has to try and do something about it. If we maybe get a wider angle to look at, as we confirm from the challenge, definitely a penalty. There's Asare already backing up.
Definitely a penalty indeed, and you can see from the minute that Puchumpu, the ball was played towards him, rightfully saying he was expecting, there's the ball there, you can see he decelerated a little bit because expecting Asare as well to be able to come out and maybe do something with that, and he realized that, you know, the pressure that comes from Moremi with his speed as well, and good bravery as well from Moremi to be able to put his body in front of Puchumpu to force that foul to get a penalty for Orlando Pirates.
Well, 10 minutes until the break, and Durban City's best laid plans are in tatters. They are about to face a penalty, and they are also down to 10 men with one of their most valuable players out on the field. No longer there. Tito Masongani, oh, he rolls it in coolly. And Pirates have the advantage in this MTN8 quarterfinal. They've been the only side in this game to offer any real attacking threat up to this point, and they're duly rewarded.
They are rewarded indeed. I mean, they've been trying to knock on that City's defense. That City's defense have been very, very solid. With that extra man in that midfield where Puchumpu and Nodada and Sange have been operating. It will be so interesting now to see yesterday in what formation will they be falling into, because there are Nodada now has to be the one that plays next to Sange, because now with Puchumpu being out in that midfield where they actually understood yesterday, that's why Orlando Pirates is more the dangerous misman Masongani that just slotted a penalty, finds space in between, and you can see here Moremi making sure that, you know, he causes so much problems where you're expecting also maybe from Puchumpu position yesterday, Sangare maybe being the one that actually comes through and try and rescue that situation, but calmly slotted there from Masongani.
He's always been fairly cool from the spot. Everyone will remember the injury time derby winner, but actually the last penalty he took, which was about 11 months ago against Chippa United, he did miss, and had missed 2 of the previous 5 that he had taken coming into today's game. But absolutely no mistake from 12 yards out, capitalizing on the error from Puchumpu to give Pirates an advantage that now looks like will be very difficult to overturn considering the circumstances here. Durban City, they trail by 1, and they are 1 man down. Denson remains down, but play on has been waved. Butuma was inches away from getting a toe on that.
It's such a good ball they've been playing by Opolis, realizing that there is space in between, that he can just, you know, kill the ball a little bit with enough power from Butuma to be able to run onto it.
Bartels looking for a little movement up ahead of him, finding Moremi, who's made life difficult for Ndaba, but he's somehow managed to recover it here. Gaston Serino stepping in. Ndaba working the space to clip it into a dangerous area. Polis set himself up well, but it was quickly closed down, and Danson hoists it over from range.
It was, and I was wondering as to then maybe Apolis could have taken that ball the first time, because it flew just nicely and it just dipped as it came towards him. But yet again, it did enough to make sure that it controls the ball there, and then just can see the bodies of City there, making sure that they're closing down, and also forcing Danson as well to take that shot a little bit quicker when he was off balance.
So I mean, Asare scraping it away, but again, another panicky moment at the back. This is Danson. Maswangani maneuvers his way brilliantly past Sanga and slips it through for Moremi couldn't bring it under his spell.
You can see with that one man down in that City midfield now, it really now opens up for Maswanganyi and the team to be able now to find those spaces that they've been denied earlier on.
Serena. He's got the ball back a little fortuitously. Still, he continues on, the Uruguayan. Rolled into space here for Mokoni. Lubumba. Nothing comes of that. The only KZN side that Pirates failed to score against last season was Durban City. They managed 20 goals and conceded only 3 in their outings against sides from KwaZulu-Natal. Off brilliance with Sibilibili is offside, and the recovery from Mokoni is good as well. He had no idea that the flag was raised.
Yeah, he had no idea indeed, but it was a good ball being played by Mbata, realizing the space as well. Because of that midfield now is open now, he gets to have time on the ball. You can see Sibilibili offside today, but those are great runs that we've seen Sibilibili does so many times, especially when a team that is really looking at the ball, not realizing it's within the type of runs that he makes, because he is a winger naturally, so he finds space within that position that he takes.
Yeah, naturally a winger, a man who's reinvented himself over the past year or so into one of the best attacking fullbacks in the land. Oh, brilliant. Moremi moves it on for Maswanganyi. Now, Butuma stumbles slightly. Still able to find Ostronopolis. Options on his outside in the form of Sibilibili. Danson. Those two combine again. Bata. No pressure on him, considering City now a man light in the midfield. Moremi glides past one and doesn't make the cleanest connection with the shot.
And I also think like Moremi is more dangerous when he's playing on the right hand side, because as soon as he cuts in, he has an option to, because his left foot is more his strongest foot. He's able to always have the ball on his strongest foot. You can see here after cutting in, it just ball slightly throws into the right, so he's forced now to toe poke it. What else? Maybe if they swap between him and Apollos, both of them are so dangerous when they're playing lopsided.
Chain. Sibisi seems to have successfully shaken off that little niggle from earlier. Siema. Sibilibili. Whilst Durban City learnt of their preliminary round CAF Confederation Cup match against Rukinzo of Burundi, Orlando Pirates will be facing the Mauritian champions, Lakio Waves. They were champions in their homeland for the very first time, and awaiting the winner of that tie, which many presume will be Pirates, Mangasport of Gabon, or Namibia's Africa Sports. That's for a chance to get into the group stages, which Pirates last achieved 2 seasons back when they went all the way deep into the competition, to the semi-finals. Last season knocked out in the second preliminary round and didn't get a chance in the group stages, which would have been bitterly disappointing for them, but did allow them to focus on domestic obligations and win that treble. As Sibilibili finds Apollos, now Moremi, space for Danson. Danson with another fairly wayward attempt from range.
Yeah, I think that Danson realized that he had space, trying to take that opportunity to be able to take that shot, but there was so much support in and around. Especially when you're in the lead, you need to know when to calm things down, even if you can see that you're in the right areas, but just slowing it down a little bit, rotating a little bit, just trying to move that low block that City has. Especially when you're in the lead, you can actually do that without rushing things.
City will be very grateful to welcome back Carl Jurgens from a suspension carried over from last season. He picked up his 8th yellow card in their final final Betway Premiership game against AmaZulu, which means he's serving a 2-match ban. Without Pochampol, they'll need him back.
Yeah.
Mamelodi Sundowns, the last team that doesn't play in black, hailing from Orlando to actually win this competition. That was in 2021. Pirates having won it the season prior means that they have won 5 of the last 6 editions. 7 times as well in the MTN8 era, which is from 2008 onwards. And since 2008, when MTN took over the sponsorship, Chiefs have won it twice and SuperSport twice. It's the only other sides that have won it multiple times. Pirates 7 occasions, unbelievable record in this season opening competition. As Masongani gets the return here from Sibilibili. It's well met by Banana.
I've always asked myself, then, you know, with the Pirates' dominance in this competition, then, how then do you come into the season early on and find your rhythm as quickly as possible and be able to go on and win this competition? Because most teams really struggle. Even when I was playing for Sundowns, we used to struggle with this competition because our rhythm maybe comes a little bit later, around September, October. Then that's when you find your rhythm. For a lot of Pirates to be able to do this season after season is remarkable.
The Pirates going all the way back to 72 when this tournament started. They've won it 14 times. Closing in on Kaizer Chiefs, 15 times winners. It's crazy to think 4 times in a row. The best successive title triumphs in any of the other competitions, 3 times in a row in the Nedbank Cup. Pirates actually owners of that particular record. Kaizer Chiefs multiple times have won it twice in succession, the League Cup. But only Pirates have ever won any of South Africa's domestic cup competitions 4 times in a row. They're looking to make it 5. As the half-time whistle blows after a successful first 45 minutes from a Buccaneers perspective, breaking the deadlock about 10 minutes prior to the break. Tito Maswangani from the spot after Brooklyn Pochampol brought down Tsapang Moremi, which also resulted in him seeing a 2nd yellow, and he was dismissed. Nothing Asare could do against Maswangani, and Pirates have a serious advantage here.
They do have an advantage.
That perhaps Teko Modise is the best they can hope for at the moment. Get this game to extra time if they can nick a goal, but much more seems a bridge too far, as we see the introduction now of Spangani Zulu. So this officially his Orlando Pirates debut. He was an unused sub in their opening league game of the season. And they have asked him here to play at centre half alongside Siema, so Kosanati Sibisi will not be risked for the remainder of this game. He did limp off, or rather was stretchered off at one point, but did make his way back onto the field. And Zulu, we're accustomed to seeing him at full back, but also very capable as a centre half and has the height to compete there.
Yeah, with the height as well, it will be very nice, yes. Especially coming into the game where there's not too much pressure in terms of them defending that, because they're playing against the side that is 1 man down with Lumumba just up front, so he should be rotating the ball very nicely to acclimatize himself into this game.
And here is Moremi, can't force his way past combination of Shandu and Gaston Sorinho. The last time Orlando Pirates lost a quarter-final was at home against Swallows in 2021-2022 season. They'd won their quarter-final the season prior, and then before that, 4 quarter-final defeats in a row. There was a period where they really weren't having much joy in this competition. They certainly turned that around in the recent seasons. And they have lost only 2 of their last 21 MTN8 fixtures. That was their opener to Swallows that we mentioned in 2021-2022. and to Stellenbosch in the second leg of their semi-final match in 2023-2024, although they did go on to progress. Both of those were home losses, strangely enough. There's Danson. Aswan Ganyu. Cut out by Serino. Lumumba. Daba for Moremi. 2 goals in the final. Sabang Moremi, first to score a brace in the MTN8 final since Dane Clayt did so back in 2016. A famous victory for Bidvest Wits over Mamelodi Sundowns, 3-0 in a terribly rainy final. Shoved off the ball for the Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs. If you were wondering earlier why we didn't mention Sundowns when we were running through the preliminary round obligations in the CAF Champions League, that's because Sundowns one of 3 sides that do have a bye. 61 teams entered into the CAF Champions League at the preliminary stage, but they, along with Esperance and Aris Berkan, all getting a bye. 58 teams competing in the first leg, and if you missed the first half, Pirates with a fairly easy matchup coming in just under a month, the first leg against Lacure Waves of Mauritius. Set pieces for Durban City probably be their best route to goal, considering the circumstances. Bad delivery from Gaston Serino. Here is Moremi to slap it away from danger. Batuma. And characteristically loose touch from Oswald.
Speaking of set pieces, remember as well when Durban City was playing a cup competition, I think they scored a hat-trick. I think it was Ngaba with the header as well. So they need to, maybe it is the game that they have to wait for those type of opportunities to try and trouble London Pirates via set piece.
Yeah, that was the Carling knockout.
Yep.
Wonderful game. It's their first in the competition. Aber, as you mentioned, on the bench today, scored a hat-trick in that game. But Sibilibi. Siema. Now Sibilibi. Apollos just straight offside.
Very tight there, but good call from the linesman. These are the type of movements that's going to be required, especially with a lot of parts being more patient on the ball, rotating it, but we need to rotate with the purpose a little bit more faster so we will be able to have those type of runs.
Seeing some national team jerseys in the crowd. Banyana will be in action. Man, on a tough quarter-final. They have, I guess that's the consequence of not winning your group. They have to take on the hosts with a spot at the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup on the line. The top 4 in the tournament automatically qualify, and there will be 2 additional spots potentially for African teams into continental playoffs, but they'll be wanting to get the better of the Atlas Lionesses, which they have done previously. But definitely didn't make a good start to the tournament. They seem to have turned things around as the ball is played in brilliantly for Lubamba, and the 10 men of Durban City have hit back against the defending champions.
I guess some will say out of nowhere, where Orlando Pirates could have defended that attack a little bit better, but it's a good fighting spirit from Serena to be able to, to try and finish off the attack and find this man inside the box to be able to punish Orlando Pirates, which Orlando Pirates has been in the driving seat most of the game. They've been controlling the tempo, they've been controlling the play, especially with one man down. You're expecting Orlando Pirates as well to, making sure that they defend a little bit better, but look at here. With 3v2, they could have defended a little more better, but that misstep there from Zulu.
Yeah.
It finds Sereno on the other side as well. Sereno fighting for it with that tackle as well. But look at Mumbale finding himself inside the box, because two centre backs are out of position. That was Siema and Zulu here with his 4. It really created that opportunity for Lumumba to be able to put it in the back of the net.
Well, it's not the introduction that Zulu would have wanted from a Royal AM man who was with Richards Bay last season. And it's his inability to sort his feet out there, the ball getting past him, and Durban City capitalised with an equaliser against the odds. Now dancing. Sibilibi. Apollos. That's a little flick for Sibilibi, who has kept it alive here. Moremi doing well to keep it in. Daba. Bata. Well, this is precisely what we said. Nick a goal and then defend like your life depends on it. And Durban City have so often, in their short time in the top flight, taken teams past the 90 minutes and had success either in extra time or in penalty shootouts, as Gaston Sereno gives away the foul here. It's a great position after he pulled back to Moremi.
Yeah, I'm sure also from a Durban City point of view in the halftime, they spoke about getting back into the game, maybe getting that qualifier, and possibly drag the game throughout to extra time and see what happens then. But this is the near foul that was happening within Sereno, because he knew that he can't match Moremi with his pace, and that target there over Jay-Z there really made himself be in the book of the referee.
Moremi takes. There was a desperate attempt from Zulu to meet it and keep it in. Islam Wadu last season oversaw 10 cup matches across the 3 domestic cups. 7 wins, 3 draws. It's only on penalties against Kazakh that they actually suffered a defeat outright. Nice little exchange there. Masongani comes sliding in.
Maybe because of both legs maybe leaving up, off the ground, and maybe showing stats as well. Maybe that's what the referee thought that it was a dangerous tackle, regardless of whether there was contact or not. And it comes back to the situation we spoke about, set pieces where maybe Durban City get coach problems.
It is an indirect free kick, delivered in, and easy claim for Sipho Chain. It's quick to release and find Masongani. Bata. Apollos getting away from Gaston Sereno, who might shortly be making way. The man that he came in for today, Zamkelo Maseko, is being prepared in the dugout currently. think that before Orlando Pirates put together these 4 MTN8 titles in succession, when they hit 3 in succession, that was a new record in South Africa's top 8. It had never been won more than twice in a row. There's Butuma. Moremi.
Yeah, I think Moremi just played the balls in the far post, hoping for maybe to Siblibili on the further side or Apolis rather, but there was an option here. And he still had time and space to be able maybe to look up a little bit to try and see who's inside the box. But Ndaba was the perfect choice to be able to play the ball.
Shandu, and the goal scorer John Lumumba is offside. So with that stopped in play, Durban City will be making a couple of changes. They resisted the urge to tinker at half-time despite the fact that they were down to 10 men, but now I think Gaston Sirino on a yellow card makes sense to be bringing on Maseko at this point. The other player waiting to be introduced is Morris. He will come on here for Lubomba. So the man who's made the impact, the difference for Durban City is withdrawn.
And Lumumba is more of a player that plays in front of the defenders because he's strong-bodied, be able to control and allow the other midfielders to get into the game. But with Morris, more a little bit of aggression, maybe play on the shoulder to make those runs, especially with one man down, to be able to play those long balls, to be able to run into fresh legs, just to try and drag the game further. With Maseko on the other side, just to try and isolate those 1v1s.
I certainly won't take this lying down. They are coming at Orlando Pirates here. This is Shandu. He's forced a corner.
Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of a spring on the Durban side after equalizer. See Shandu now advancing in those areas, trying to make sure that the add numbers going forward. And Orlando Pirates, they know his abilities of getting into such areas, you know, playing those 1-2s, making those runs. And Durban City now is trying to knock on the door for Orlando Pirates.
Sifumba with City's first corner of the game. It's well met by Siema. Sifumba does brilliantly against Moremi. Still Sifumba. The Pirates at the hour mark here have really let Durban City, the 10 men of Durban City, get a real foothold in this game in this second period. You always run the risk when you have a man advantage of just taking your foot off the gas, and I think Pirates did fall foul to that in the opening quarter hour of this first half. An opportunity now on the front foot with Maswangani and Butuma. Tito again. Moremi. Ndaba. That's not quite accurate enough for Maswangani to get a hold of. Morris has been plated by Zulu. Maswangani. Apollos. Still Osman Apollos. Alfred Jabani was right on the scene and had a close look at that. First opportunity here for Maseko to stretch his legs, causing a little bit of worry down that left-hand flank.
That's going to be a very interesting challenge because Svelevili's got speed and he wins those 1v1 duels. But Maseko rather being introduced, there's a lot of expectation from him.
Butuma was down under the challenge of Nodada. Seems to indicate that he was forced into that challenge because none of his teammates were closing Butuma down.
Yeah, I think his teammates were just backpedaling instead of coming forward and trying to press the man on the ball. Thabo had to resort to that foul.
Options are plenty from this set piece. Aswinopolis over it, and he does go direct. It's fairly easy for Frederick Asare. Now Shambi. He's asking a lot of Sanga there. There's certainly a willingness to play from Durban City. They aren't just hoofing it long every time.
Yeah, I think there's a different approach in the second half, rather, especially after that equalizer. You could see after that yellow card, after that red card, they didn't really know then what is it that they needed to do. They needed a half-time conversation with Ben Yusuf to try and figure out then what is it that we do when we do have the ball, and they started playing a little bit better in the second half, and also realizing as well that another pass, just put their foot off the pedal a little bit, and they allow City to come back into the game. So they need to step up again to get back into the lead that they need.
And from Apollos, it's a tricky ball to deal with. Siema had just straight off, and that looped up to him. City in the PSL era became only the 11th newly promoted side to actually finish in the top 8 and earn themselves a spot in the MTN8 for the following season. Of the previous 10 newly promoted sides to earn a spot in the top 8 competition, only 4 have ever progressed past their quarter-final the following campaign. As we stand by to see a couple of Orlando Pirates subs. So Lemelo Butuma and Aswinopolis will be the players making way here. And Poitumelo Radiopane is on, as well as Kabelo Kutsile, who came on for Butuma 66 minutes into their opening league game against Milford FC. Was recruited by Orlando Pirates over a season back and then loaned back to Baraka, but now he's officially joined up with the team. Didn't actually end up with them on the pre-season tour to Spain, but had his own program that he was working on here at home. He looked good against Milford as Masangani puts that straight into the gloves of Asare. So interesting to see what both Radiopane and indeed Khostile can do here.
Yeah, there's a lot of expectations from Khostile. He had a great impact when he came on last weekend, 1v1 situation, being able to cut in and be able to take those shots on target. But also from a Radiopane point of view, is then he needs to step up. Maybe this might be the season that in terms of goals contribution, they need a striker like that, especially with the Hopa not being available.
It's long from Onana. It's too long for Sifumba. Sorry, Sanga. Plenty of space for Shandu. Sanga. Looking for Morris. There's the nod down. And the setup, edge of the area. Alfred Jabani not interested, despite the fairly dramatic particular role there. Radio finally gets it out of his feet. Despite the indignation from the home fans, got still upended and no foul was forthcoming. So here comes a change for Tabo Nodada, and a player that Durban City fans will be really excited about. Klifa Makua, former Keswick Stars man. Nodada touching off. In that lineup, they famously got the better of Pirates in the Nedbank Cup, beating them on penalties. Right here at the Orlando Stadium, so he's tasted success previously in a cup competition for a different team, yes, but at the Orlando Amstel Arena.
I'm sure the memories are still fresh. A little bit tight again from Songayi's run. You can see that Durban City as well playing a little more bravery, pushing up a little bit, with the space that they really denied Orlando Pirates in the first half, and knowing and understanding that there's a lot of runners from Orlando Pirates, but this time around playing a little more bravery, trying to maybe get on to be the ones that actually lead or drag this game to extra time, realizing that maybe because of the experience that they've had, especially last season, being able to win so many games via penalties and extra time.
Well, remarkably, Durban City in this second half have had slightly more possession than they did have in the first half.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, you might not be aware that they are playing with 10 men currently, doing a good job again to free Bandile Shandu in some space. Still Shandu. Squeeze through for Morris. Delivery into the box, away by Danson, covered once again by the visitors through Somi. No. Crisp pass to find Shandu. Sifuma relinquishes possession here, and it's forward by Mbata. Morris doing a good job occupying the centre halves of Orlando Pirates. Lovely running, great reverse ball. Radio Pane laying it off, and over the top from Fotizilia, a wild and wayward shot.
Yeah, that's one of those, still as young as he is, that's one of those areas of his play that needs to improve. Very brave when it's 1v1, great pass, great vision here to find Radio Pane. Radio Pane had to sort his feet out, but here you need to try and have your body well positioned to be able to try and hit the target. But those are areas of the game that he will improve throughout the season. But nonetheless, whenever he's on the ball, he looks very, very enterprising.
Bata. Ndaba. Masangani. Straight down the throat of Asare. It's looking similar to the last time he was at the Orlando Amstel Arena in terms of the saves that he's been making so far. That is only number 3 though, in truth, as compared to the 8 that he made the last time he was here. Radio Pane. using his strength to retain possession. Sibilibili now. Puts him. Gets it back. And goes down. Under that late challenge. Nothing wrong with that call. Maseko clearly late.
Yeah, Maseko very late there.
Now they've taken it quickly, have Pirates. Danson putting in a decent ball. Sibilibili. Oh, forcing yet another corner.
It's going to be a lot of defensive duties that City have to do, because Orlando Pirates will try and get back into that lead with those interplaying passes with Sibilibili as well. You know, with the Khositsile coming in playing lopsided, that will allow Sibilibili to be able to make those runs just on the right hand side of him, to be able to bring those crosses inside the box.
Khositsile with the delivery. Still there for Pirates, Muremi. Cry of handball, not heeded by Alfred Tabani. Captain by Muremi. Masongang. Masongang down under the challenge of Makua. Khositsile can't get it past Bandile Shandu. Bata rising and winning it. It was eventually away by the visitors. Collected by Muremi. Off the head of Mokone. Just over a quarter hour remains. Of the four, or rather the 10 previous sides who were newly promoted the previous season and earned a spot in the top 8 competition, just 4 made it past the quarterfinal stage in their debut. Dynamos did so in 2003, winning against Supersport. Celtic against Chiefs in 2005. And Celtic, by the way, the only team debuting in the MTN8 that actually went on to win it. And it's Park beat Orlando Pirates in 2019-20. Swallows a couple of seasons beyond. Now hung up beautifully there and just past the upright from Khositsile.
Yeah, he's had a positive impact ever since he came on. He has sparked so much energy into that Orlando Pirates side that really was slowing things down. Look at the run that he makes. Look at also the pass there from Danson. But Khositsile, unfortunately, they could see his idea, just trying to flick it, realizing that Asari was off his post.
So I did just want to make the point that the last 2 instances where a side who had been newly promoted the season prior and got themselves into the MTN8 actually went on to win in the quarterfinal, were both against Pirates. The advantage still lying with the Buccaneers here. The man advantage, the home advantage, the experience advantage.
Yeah. And also looking at yesterday and how Orlando Pirates started, a lot of experience within the first team, so you're expecting them to be able to know how to manage the stress, how manage the pressure that they found themselves, especially last season, they were able also to be victorious within that. But in this game, I think in certain instances they are unable to break down that wall, that low block that City has. But in the second half. And then Khositsile, I think that's the man that they can really, really give the ball to, because there's a lot of energy within his play.
Now ball given away, and Pirates have plenty of numbers forward. It's 5-on-4. It's Maswanganyi. It's blocked behind.
Yeah, Mukoni there realized that there was a danger in and around those penalty spots where Maswanganyi was. He needed to make sure that he just runs across from that left back position to try and close down, because none of the central midfielders were there for Durban City.
Half a dozen corners for Orlando Pirates. Out swinging delivery from Tsapang Moren. It's another opportunity to put it in. Tashford Morris doing some defensive duties here. Bata quickly to Sibilibili. Maswanganyi. Danson. Khositsile in plenty of space. Driving across goal and looking for either Zulu or Radeopane, who are waiting.
Yeah.
The pressure is mounting. And it comes for Zulu. Looking to make amends for his error, which resulted in the equaliser. Maswanganyi. Danson. Khositsile. Tito Maswanganyi. Danson again. Talent Mbata. Finding Ndaba. Feeds Moremi. Tsapang Moremi works some space. Spilled by Asare. Now they are kept out once again, the Buccaneers. It remains level at 1-1 as both sides make a couple of changes here. Masilela did really well off the bench in the final quarter hour of the opening match, and he came on for Maswanganyi, which again is the case. He's on alongside Tapelo Mukubori, who makes his Orlando Pirates debut. Wasn't in the squad for the Milford game. And Danson departs alongside Maswanganyi. But Masilela, who turns 22 at the end of this month, highly talented midfielder from Ermelo. Would he be the player to make a difference as Shandu and Sifumba make way for Mufokeng and Domingo? Changes here. King, another from Kazrick making his debut for Durban City. It's a good cutout. Unable to feed the really the lone option up front. Zulu. the ball back. Siema. Ambata. Moremi. Bata again. There's Maseko for Durban City. And Morris has punted that into touch.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure that has been applied by Orlando Pirates. Every time City has the ball, wins the ball in their own half, Orlando Pirates are making sure that they counter press, trying to win the ball there. I'm sure Orlando Pirates can realize that there's not enough time on the clock, so they're trying to get into that lead. You know, piling so much pressure on that Durban City defense.
Siema spreads it out wide. Can make anything of that opportunity. Siema has it again, bursting forward. A man who has scored a couple of crucial goals since his arrival at Orlando Pirates, but plays that straight out. Doesn't give him Daba really enough chance. And what was a fairly upbeat crowd at half-time. There's a little bit of anxiety around the Orlando Amstel Arena. The ball broke rather fortuitously there for Maseko. He finds Domingo. Goal kick. He's convinced it should be a corner.
Yeah, he's very, very convinced. You can see he's not happy with the linesman.
Bata. Mukubori. Well cut out by Msomi. Seen quite a few debuts today. Msomi, one of them, and he's acquitted himself fairly well after maybe a slightly shaky start.
Yeah.
Coming back from playing in Poland, but not anywhere near the top flight, playing deep down in the lower divisions of Polish football. Bata. Now Sibilibi. Free kick for the Buccaneers. Well, last time they were defending league champions and managed to win the MTN8, came in 2011, 2012, Papamanisa with one of the great South African goals in cup history to win it in extra time. Hope that as defending league champions again, they can go all the way to the final and win it. Delivery swung in. Again, nothing much comes of it.
Yeah, indeed. You can see that with CT continuing again, that making sure that the defenders set pieces to the other parts are trying to, profit from them and defending very well. It is a team. You also look at the substitutions that they made, trying to stretch the game as further as possible and making sure that Orlando Pirates stay frustrated. That then results them into them having more confidence going forward, because the more Orlando Pirates the pile of pressure without creating enough goal scoring opportunity, they might find something from that.
Well, they were made to work hard the last time they faced a KZN inside in the quarterfinals. That was back in 2002 against Royal AM. That's clever. Bata almost manages to sneak her through, does Masilela. Moremi, good block tackle from Hashim Domingo. Comfortably got past Puluwan, who's sitting in the quarterfinal obligation last season as Moremi. Well, he forced a wonderful save out of Asare Khotsitsilia on the follow-up, couldn't squeeze it in.
Great there by Mukoni, being able to have that presence of mind, realizing that Khotsitsilia Was on the verge of scoring a goal.
Now they've taken the corner quickly. But they find it rising forwards, not making a clean connection.
I can see here Moremi realizing that there's enough space for him. He really forced the save out of Hasari there. But look at Mokoni as well, realizing there is danger, sprinting to make sure that he cuts that ball.
That is tip-top awareness from Mokoni. Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant defensive work.
Well, he has kept his new club in it. Three seasons ago, Orlando Pirates came past this stage with a 5-0 win over Skukuni United in the MTN8 quarter-final. This has not been quite as easy. Did go to extra time back in 2024 against Supersport United. Eventually won 3-1 though, as Durban has it taken away from him eventually as he looked to pick a pass. Seconds of regulation time remaining. Moremi, he's onside. Mbata can't link up with Moremi again. In the PSL era, Orlando Pirates have had 8 MTN8 matches decided on penalties, 4 of which they've won, 4 of which they have lost. Still have an opportunity here, struck firmly towards goal by Masilela. Mukubon, Sibilibi. This is Zulu. Daba, Moremi, Mbata. Oh, Mbata gets it back, and it's ricocheted off him for a second time. Pirates against the 10 men of Durban City will be desperate to finish this inside the regulation 90. Masilela picks out Ndaba well. Moremi finding the mark again.
Moremi's been giving so much space on this left-hand side in the last few minutes where he really troubled Tasari, but this time around he couldn't really find the target that he wanted, just to force a save from this man in the midfield.
He's only managed 1 shot on target. That was not so long ago, forcing a save out of Asare, but he's been off the mark 4 times already, has Durban Moremi, the player who has attempted the most shots over the course of this match so far. Daba has the pace to keep that alive. Still he continues on. It's looked to be a good ball to set up Masilela just on the edge of the area. Pirates do have it back after City were momentarily in possession. This is Masilela. Good little disguised ball. Now it bursts through kindly, and sorry, easy play for Asare.
You can see with the intent from Orlando Pirates, was really trying to kill off this game. There's 9 minutes, not to try and drag it. You see the amount of pressure that they're putting on to try and bring the balls inside there, playing the ball with a lot of emphasis and a lot of speed, just to try and catch that defensive line of City.
Ndaba. Remington Mbata. Talente Mbata has launched that high and handsome over the bar. 2 minutes of additional time remaining. Morris making his presence felt up front. Sibilibili for CM. Gaba. They've seen an awful lot of it down the left-hand flank in the second half for the Buccaneers. Mukubodi. Sibilibili. The ball in behind is brilliant. Khosisile cuts it back. Masilela tries to shift it to a better position and is dispossessed at the crucial moment.
At a crucial moment indeed. Look at the good ball that had been played by Khosisile. Cut back, fights Masilela, and they couldn't sort out his feet very well, but great work defensively from CTN again.
Driving forward once again, Mukubodi. He's looking for that square pass to Moremi. This will serve City well. Seconds remaining now. Banta for Siema. Zulu. Ndaba. Last opportunity to deliver the ball in. Set back for Zulu. Mukubodi. Bombata, now a chance here, rolled across. Oh, they were queuing up for it. They may even have gotten each other's way. Radio Pane and Moremi both left on the ground, and the ball didn't end up in the back of the net.
Indeed, it was a great ball being played by Sibilibili, trying to find this man inside the box. Him, I think, and Moremi just got in each other's way. And right there, it was that last opportunity that Roland Pass actually could have punished.
Well, Khalil Ben Youssef sent his charges out for the second half with a plan, and they have executed it to perfection, nicking a goal early in the second period and then managing to hold Orlando Pirates with 10 men for 45 minutes. Absalam Wadu will be asking questions of his team. Why were they not able to finish this match in the 90? We now go into an additional 30 minutes and too much. That ball forward. Somi. Sanger with a really loose touch. And in his attempts to recover the ball, he's committed the foul on Khosisile.
So that's the type of mistake that they made when Pochenpoel got sent off. That loose touch in those type of areas, they need to really fix that, because this was an unforced error. He was free, but that touch actually let him down, and this is why he committed a foul to Khosisile.
I know that Pirates can turn it on in extra time, but as they did in the MTN8 final last season. Extremely fit side as Moremi goes for it, and he has struck the crossbar with a fierce effort.
Yeah, I don't think Asaro was expecting that ball. I think Asaro was expecting maybe Moremi to play a little bit further, you know, in the last pole, to allow this Siemas and them to be able to run to it. You can see the space that he opened, Asaro, and Moremi nearly took advantage of that.
Extremely close to getting back in front. The best ball from Domingo. Asare out to claim. By the way, even if we go all the way through extra time into penalties, no real chance of this match encroaching on the upcoming game, the other MTN8 quarterfinal for today. That's Mamelodi Sundowns versus Polokwane City, and then tomorrow the 3 p.m. kickoff, AmaZulu taking on Skukuni United, and Kaizer Chiefs back in the MTN8 after 3 seasons will be up against Lamontfort Golden Arrows. That's tomorrow's 6 p.m. kickoff. Zulu, Daba, Moremi, I'll get there ahead of Asare. He was quick with his line.
Yeah, also Asare could have realized that he was inside the box. He could have just possibly maybe carry that ball instead of losing that possession.
He's an extremely mobile goalkeeper. Mukubun takes on the shot. Well, the deflection perhaps made it even easier for Asare.
Yeah, of course, those type of spaces, they are inviting to any midfielder that can really strike the ball. You want to possibly see Mbata in around those type of areas.
Mbata into the path of Ndaba. Looking so fresh, despite the fact that we're in extra time. It was brilliantly done by the left full-back to force a corner here.
He had a better second half. Yeah. He found so much space on the left-hand side. He continues again in that extra time. He still has so much legs in him to be able to drive forward and try and to add numbers with Orlando Pirates going forward.
Moremi's corner. Held by Morris. Daba. Domingo. It's a Durban City free kick. Domingo just taking a boot off there already. Dispense the ball upfield. This stop and play will allow Orlando Pirates to make supplementary substitutes. They are now afforded one more since we have gone into a period of extra time. So this is their 6th alteration, and it is Sibilibili who making way here for Gampani Lungu, who did come on the Zambian for Sibilibili with a quarter hour remaining in the opening league match against Milford. Sibilibili has also been sitting on a yellow card since very early minutes of this game.
Yeah. And also maybe having more level of fresh legs going forward, because there's not much defending that Orlando Pirates needs to do. Maybe Lungu, that's why, just to give them just enough going forward with the speed that he has and aggression that he has.
Now we have to wait a little longer for his first touch. That ball en route to him, cut out by Maseko. Now Swift talented Mbata for Pirates. Zulu. Daba. Mbata. Lungu. First opportunity to influence this game. Not quite on the same wavelength as his teammates just yet. Another. Looking for Morris. Zulu for Lungu. Kamani Lungu caught on it. Pirates recover through Mukabori. Now Zulu. Siema. Carrying it forward while is Siema. Bata. Slipping in Khotitsile, asking a little too much of him. That's Somi down. He has had a phenomenal debut so far. Fazile Taba did play the opening league match against Skakuni United, but since he's very capable cover in several defensive positions, he was kept on the bench today. Now is coming on for Sebong and Somi in the latter stages of this match.
Yeah, also with the Kaba, we know that he can play easy as a right back, but in this instance he slots in as a centre back, very versatile player.
Yes, Domingo from range. Sipo Chain watching it all the way. Great positioning, just shuffled his feet and it wasn't easy.
Indeed, and it's the goalkeeper as well that we spoke of earlier, that he hasn't been much in the action, so still his concentration level is still up.
Khosisile. Goni taking care of the situation. This is Kampani Lungu, Mokobodi, Talenta Bata. Again. Mokobodi. Moving it on to Lungu. Oh! Absolutely clattered by Maseko. And unsurprisingly, Maseko has gone into the referee's book.
Very clever from Lungu. Realised that Maseko is on top speed. Just try to move the ball out of the way to win that free kick.
Moremi takes. Fazile Taba with the defensive header. Morris now. Hanana. Domingo completely isolated. And that helps the City cause as they get yet another free kick.
Yeah, that's the City. That's how they're going to play. Just to try and gain ground by winning those fouls. Getting closer and closer because they don't have an out-and-out person to be able to play those balls whenever they're under pressure to be able to run into. Because you could see also there was a set piece that forced Maurice then to be inside the box, so they didn't have anybody else. So these are type of fouls that they're going to win just to gain ground.
Morris with the flick. They want to profit from the second ball. Lungu combining with Khotitsile, still Kampani Lungu. Now Alfred Chabani has a big decision to make, and on the advice of his first assistant, Romario Piri, he says it will be a corner.
Yeah, you can see also from the referee, delayed a little bit, just to look at his linesman to then make it the proper decision, because Lungu was on there with his speed, making sure that he gets first onto the ball, maybe also allowing the defender to come in so that he can win. That you can see here thriving through in between those defensive line. Very tough to call.
Sane comes for it, doesn't get anything on it really. Daba in first time, good strong header clear by Zanga. The replay doesn't reveal all too much. Manana coming across, does he get a toe on it? It was blinding run from Kampani Lungu, making the most of the fact that he's one of the freshest players on the field. City have played almost 70 minutes now with just 10 men.
tough. You can just imagine what it does from the legs to be able to defend that long, and especially playing against a side that has willing runners like Orlando Pirates.
Siema finding Daba. Moremi. Fairly easily dealt with by Makoni, as Morris says, probably worth an attempt under the circumstances. He's more than willing to hold up his hands and apologize.
Yeah, you can see exactly after he didn't get the correct connection that he needed, immediately his hands were high. But when you get it right, it becomes one of those brilliant goals, because Sipuchaini is forever out of position because the team is dominating so much position playing in the opposition's half. So those are chances that you need to take, especially playing with one man down.
The period after the interval is shaping up to be a lot more tricky than Upper Slamwadu would have anticipated, with his team ahead and with a numerical advantage. There was some, after the Skakuni United defeat last weekend, who already sounding the alarm, but Farouk Karodia, Durban City owner, came out in defense of Khalil Ben Yusuf to say much too early to be making any kind of decisions on his futures. Antwani Lungu does just about keep it alive for Orlando Pirates. This is Zambian once again, and a real tussle with Domingo, and he fires in the cross. Radiapane rose for it, couldn't make the connection. Zulu now. Gets away from Mbata. It's found by Siema, who can crack them and has done previously. The Euro against Durban last season.
You can just see the amount of pressure, the amount of ground that Orlando Pirates are dominating. Look at where Siema is taking the shot. You can see that the team is really, really piling that type of pressure from a Durban City side.
He just needed to get more on that. It was a great cross. Only seconds remaining in the first half of extra time. Can they conjure one more chance before the whistle sounds? Mukubodi tiptoeing past one and then goes down in stages. And referee Alfred Chabani says you will get a free kick.
That click there from Domingo that really forced Mukubudi to go down. And Orlando Pirates, with all the amount of set pieces that they have within the game, they need to, try to pull something out of the sleeve to try and create something out of this.
Well, Moreni has already struck the crossbar from a direct free kick. Having won the free kick is also interested. Mukubodi couldn't get the ball to come down, and that is that for the first half of extra time. Jerry Chabani will ask them not to dawdle. He'll want them to soft sides as swiftly as possible, but the players will just try and eke out a few more seconds of recovery time.
Oh, especially from the Durban City side, there's a lot of conversations happening on the pitch, trying to make sure that they're all in sync, they're all on the same page. But this man here on the picture, a lot of planning that needs to happen in the second half, trying to fine-tune as to then what is it that his team needs to do to be able to get that leader that they've been looking for.
And it is the players currently out there, the 11 of Orlando Pirates, the 10 of Durban City, that will finish this match. No subs available for either team, as Farouk Karodia deep in conversation. They're hoping that and somehow sneak past the defending champions and become just the 5th side, newly promoted the previous season, to finish in the top 8, to then come through their quarter-final the following campaign. Last team to do it were Morocco Swallows in 2021 against Orlando Pirates. Anana. Conversation with Khalid bin Yusuf. Since Middendorp watches on. Anana been an absolute rock at the back. Lost his centre-half partner, Msomi, but Fizile Taba rather thrown on in the latter stages. Abdeslam Mouadou issuing his final instructions. Aswanapolis long since departed. A man who had an impact in last season's quarter-final. Kumikoza looking nervous. Let's not lie, he looks a little worried.
Yeah, indeed, especially as a team that is chasing that historic 5th in a row. With 10 men in so long, you're expecting Orlando Pirates to be able to find some sort of solutions, but it's never easy playing against a 10-man side, because the work rate that needs to go in from the 10-man side, they just automatically gets there. And you can see how they defend that is City, defending very narrow, so there's always going to be space out and wide. So then when the balls goes outside wide, whether to Moremi, whether to Lungu, Radio Partner needs to be able to position himself very well inside the box.
I've seen quite a bit of yellow inside the Orlando Amstel Arena. Opting to watch this match rather than Mamelodi Sundowns further up north, taking on Bulelani City in about 40 minutes' time. So we are a quarter hour away, potentially, from a penalty shootout. Frederick Asare will be very warm. Sipo Chain will have to step into the spotlight, having been a bystander up to this point.
True, yeah. Also, you look at the goal that Orlando Pirates conceded. Not much was Sipo Chain being called for, but other opportunity came through. I think it was really, really fresh because he wasn't been much in action, unlike Asare on the other side.
So the players are ready. Get restarted here. I think one fairly telling statistic from the opening 105 minutes is that Frederick Asare has made more touches than any other Durban City player up to this point. That is only about half as many as Nkosikono Ndaba, who has had 110 touches over the course of this match, and that should surprise no one who's been watching, and here he is on the ball again.
Of course, with so much space being given to him, especially from the second half of the full 90, he finds himself in those attacking positions, and a lot of pass seems to find him there.
Other with the header clear. Domingo squeezes his way past Ndaba and Mukabori. Gets a free kick as well. He's been very good at doing that since being introduced. Being able to buy a foul when necessary. Where did he escape those two? Zile played it blind, but a fairly good ball to find Botumelo Radiopane, who's now looking to provide him an option. And the challenge made successfully. Just dallying on the ball was Khositsile. Zulu. Daba. Moremi. And Tsipang Moremi had just gone a little early, but Makua did what was necessary in any case.
Yeah, Makua has been doing superbly well with this defensive recovery. Yes, and Moremi was slightly forward, but look at Makua, they putting his body just in front, just to make sure that even if it's not offside, be able to play on, making sure that Moremi doesn't have that opportunity to play that cross.
Frederick Asare goes into the referee's book. Time wasting. Of course, it was not a ball in hand situation where he took too long, which would have resulted in an indirect free kick. This was their free kick, just a conventional time wasting booking. Helped on to Radio Pane. Nice little touch from Radio Pane and then squeeze it around the corner for Khositsile. Masilela. The ball doesn't reach Moremi. But well won by Mukabori. Tsipang Moremi. Daba has created 5 chances already in this match. Space for Bata to pull the trigger. It's flown into the heels of Radio Pane. Now Lungu. Bata again. Kampani Lungu. Straight to the side.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans have been calling for Bata to get into this position to be able to pull a trigger there. But for him this time around, he didn't find the connection that he needed. But Lungu rather, you know, with the cross that really went on to Asare, I think he had a better option, maybe cut back a little bit, you know, trying to find your teammate in and around those areas because everybody was late.
Still searching for what would be their 16th semi-final participation in the PSL era in this particular competition. Set again, and Bata. Oh, he's firing it just as fiercely as he did moments ago. This time they've managed to make its way through the thicket of bodies, but well watched by Asare, who got down to save.
Yeah, Asare there, brilliant positioning himself, making sure that he keeps the ball safe. Yet again, Asare being called into action because Orlando Pirates are the one that are piling pressure, but good work they've been done by the goalkeeper.
Well, he spilled the powerful effort in the second half, and of course he conceded the penalty to Patrick Maswanganyi. But other than that, he's been fairly excellent, has he not?
Yeah.
Mukabori. Now Bata. Look at the space here for Lungu. Khositsile. Khositsile for Radio Pane. And Fezile Taba did brilliantly to keep track of his man. Still they have it, the hosts. Bata. Mukabori, Daba, Moremi, Mukabori, Kampani Lungu for Khositsile, Masilela laying it off for Lungu. That's fairly routine for Asare. He now has 7 saves to his name. Mukabori. Moremi's ball takes a slight touch Okoni needs to get rid of it to prevent the corner, and does. Under 10 minutes of the 120 remain. Zulu. Masilela dispossessed by Sanga. Fouls him in his efforts to regain possession of the ball. Goes into the referee's book as a result. Joining Sibilibili in the book. As far as Orlando Pirates players go. The ball for Radio Pane! And Asare again equal to the task. Lungu. Masile. Zulu. Ndaba. Zulu for Mukabori. Moremi. Bata fails to control. It's fallen for Lungu. Khotsitsile can't sort his feet out as the ball goes behind. Well, at half-time, there wouldn't have been many inside this stadium that thought we'd be at this point right now.
Yeah, many, especially looking as to the dominance that Orlando Pirates had. And with 10 men down, realizing as well that you're looking at Durban City unable to create chances, unable to get into, any threatening position to force any saves from Sipochain, and no one would have expected the game to be this far.
Ndaba quickly there to take the ball from him is Hashim Domingo, looking to set Morris on his way. He's taken a brilliant first touch. Morris, he just allowed the defense to gain on him. The first touch was brilliant.
Yeah.
The subsequent touches weren't quite as good.
It wasn't indeed. He made a brilliant run, brilliant pass from Domingo. That first touch from Morris set himself very, very nicely. But the other two touches really allowed Siema to be able to run across, to be able to make that tackle. That was a big opportunity for Durban City. Look at the pass here from Domingo. In between the two defenders. Look at that touch. Falls very nicely for him. The second touch here, that's the one that really lets him down.
Yeah.
Because then it forces the ball to go to his left foot. Then he still has to sort it out to bring it to his right. And I think maybe that second touch, maybe use the right foot to still be in control of the ball. Maybe there he might have pulled the trigger.
Hashim Domingo, since being introduced, has been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he has been indeed, helping the team to gain ground by winning fouls, but also when he's on the ball, making those clever passes, even though they are so limited going forward, but that experience really comes through for Domingo.
He'll have to soldier on. Well, Morris, no changes available, and they certainly can't afford to go down to 8 outfield players now. Siema also struggling, perhaps as a consequence of having to make up the ground on Morris just moments ago. We are inching closer and closer to a penalty shootout. And the Pirates now with 10 men. Durban City with 9. There will be so much space on the park in the remaining minutes here. Laid off for Mukabori. Alfred Jabani has resisted the urge to bring the whistle to his lips. Did think about it. Zulu for Bata. Lungu. Talented Bata. Hooked forward where Sare claims ahead of Radiopane.
Sare making sure that he dominates that area. Whenever the ball just bypasses defensive line, and make sure that he's highly concentrated, making sure that he goes out with confidence to claim those type of balls.
There's Morris. Was asking a lot of Makua with that pass. Masilela. Khotitsile. Here comes the youngster. Flying forward, launching a shot into bodies. Sanga thumps it away. Batafalu. Deep cross for Radiopane. It's bounced up onto his hand. Hasn't been short of chances since his introduction, Botumelo Radiopane.
Especially from the balls that are coming from the right-hand side. Valungu also has been being able to find Radiopane inside the box. Sometimes he plays those early balls, inviting balls. This is the type of ball that a striker wants to run on. You can see here, he wanted just to connect, unfortunately didn't. It just hit his hand.
Fouled by Makua, and the Pirates have taken it quickly. Khotitsile, Bani with Lungu, Mukabori. Pass gets away from him, retrieved here by Ndava. Quickly to Moremi. Mukabori. Durban City have everyone back behind the ball. Talented Bata for Gampani Lungu again, trying to find Radiopane inside that 6-yard area.
I think Durban City's defense, this man here, the captain Nganan, has been very solid ever since losing Musomi. Took responsibility of making sure that that consistency in terms of defense still intact and still rallying his team to be able to make sure that they defend in the unit. And also very, very impact not to allow Orlando Pirates to get into the score sheet.
Moremi's ball in, and Zulu helped it along, and it's been hit brilliantly by Gampani Lungu. Wow! Wow, what a goal! What a winner! Well, his first for the Buccaneers is an absolute perler. Wow, wow.
Wow, indeed, Grant. When Orlando Pirates has been trying to break that defensive line, this man Lungu came into the game, really sparked some sort of energy on the right-hand side. Very fresh, being able to be aggressive. He finds himself inside the box. City unable to defend that corner kick in the last 9 minutes. A lot of tight leg. You can see how emotional he is. That is Mbani Lungu. What it means to him to score such an important goal here at Orlando Pirates. Look at that. Outswinger, Durban City unable to defend that with an outside of the boot. That is Lungu. Look at here, he was really trying to track back because the ball, he thought the ball was lost, but with an outswing, with an outside boot rather, being able to find that top corner there was nothing Asare could have done there.
Off the shoulder, it seems, of Spangani Zulu, who some will feel was culpable for the equaliser they allowed in the second period. And it's set up perfectly for Gampani Lungu. And just when it looked like we were heading for a penalty shootout, the Zambian has settled it. Patched up Siema to Zulu and Chain. Radiopane with the flick on. Could be one more here. Radiopane! That's yet another save for Asare. Very little he could do about that winner. Durban City's goalkeeper kept Orlando Pirates at bay until the 120th minute, where Gampani Lungu, who had been thrown on as a substitute, hit it as sweetly as you can hit a ball. And Orlando Pirates, the reigning champions, stay in search of a 5th successive MTN8 title. They did it the hard way. They did it perhaps a trickier route than they might have needed to against the 10 men of Durban City, but they did it.
Yeah, they did it indeed. It's never easy to play against the 10 men. I'm sure Durban City will be very disappointed, especially looking at the hard work that they put on since ever they got that red card. But without a pass, they had to do it the hardest way, with all the substitutions, making sure that they contribute positively. Lungu being very enterprising on the right hand side, find that opportunity inside the box in the last kick of the game, especially in the second half of the extra time. What a goal to have, especially when you're first, playing here at home in your first cup competition with the new team.
Asare absolutely overcome with emotions, as is the scorer of the winning goal, for two very different reasons. Credit to many of these Durban City players. John Mokone, playing in his first ever MTN8 match, did an outstanding job at left full-back. There were other performers like Domingo off the bench who really came on and tried to make a difference for the 10 men of Durban City. But ultimately, it's Orlando Pirates who had just too much for their KZN visitors. And they come through this quarter-final obligation with the victory. Resisting the urge to smile, Mr. Koza. It was a real battle. It took 120 minutes. But Orlando Pirates, the defending champions, go marching on. They win 2-1.